Special greetings to you, noble students of JC Best Schools International. Welcome to week 5, third term 2019-2020 academic session. I am your noble teacher, Mr. Oguche Ezekiel. Today's topic will be based on educational institutions, which is a continuation of what we've been discussing since last week. Under educational institutions, we'll be discussing modern education. Modern education. If we say modern education, you should be curious to know what we mean by modern education. Is it different from formal education? Is it different from informal education and even semi-formal education? If we say modern education, does it not imply traditional education? These are some of the fundamental questions that could get students confused when they hear modern education, because if care is not taken, it becomes very difficult to differentiate between modern education and formal education, semi-formal education, informal education, and, if you like, traditional education, which is actually implied by using the word modern education. Our specific objectives for this class would be that students, by the end of this class, students should be able to define modern education, state the features of modern education, and 3, outline some of the merits or advantages of modern education. Let's begin. What is modern education? Modern education is defined as an emerging form of education which involves the use of technology such as computer and the internet for online teaching and learning. It is a convenient means of learning that is most suitable for distance learning academic program. That definition speaks volume. It calls to mind what we are doing currently. As far as reality is concerned, we have been forced to adopt these online tutorials due to COVID-19 pandemic, because we've all been advised by health experts around the world to stay safe. But while staying safe, certain things cannot be allowed to suffer. And one of the things that will not suffer is education. And because education must take place, it has to be under a special arrangement where students will learn effectively while staying safe. And that's why the need for online tutorials becomes necessary. From this explanation, what would you describe this online tutorial, or what would you call it under education? Certainly, the answer is a modern education, which is the very obvious, because from our definition, we say it is an emerging form of education that applies technology, such as computer and the internet, to dish out tutorials to learners or a specific set of students. What we have on the screen there shows a computer system, sign of education being acquired through online means. So COVID-19 has brought to limelight modern form of education, which is practiced in some parts of the world, but it is not as popular as the normal school setting where traditional teaching and learning takes place in the classroom. So if we talk about modern education, the direct opposite, or what should be close to modern education, is traditional education. So we say modern education is quite different from traditional education in the sense that in traditional education, learners sit in a conventional classroom to learn under the guidance of a teacher. In the case of modern education, however, learners are self-directed and sit in front of a computer to take classes or receive lectures. You see traditional education under conventional classroom on the screen, where there is a teacher and there are learners or group of learners, students if you like, taking classes or tutorial. They are under the strict guidance of their teacher. Before the COVID-19, before you traveled home, dear students, the things we do in class, they are actually traditional education. But what you are doing currently, the tutorials you receive under this YouTube platform is nothing other than a replica of modern education. So, modern education is not the same as traditional education. But one serious question could be asked at this point. Is modern education formal education? Because we all know that traditional education is a form of formal education, because learners learn on the basis of their age and level of understanding, and they have well-organized curriculum and scheme of work that is followed. Do you think we operate this online teaching based on curriculum and well-structured scheme of work? The answer is yes. So it implies that online tutorials, or what we call modern education, is an aspect of formal education. Nothing has changed. The only difference is that you are learning from a distance. There is no close contacts. In terms of proximity, there is no close contact or one-on-one or classroom arrangement where you have the teacher. That's just the difference. But it doesn't, that's not to deny the fact that modern education is an aspect of formal education. What are the features of modern education? Number one, learners sit before a computer system for classes or lectures, like what we have on the screen. See these two persons well seated before a computer system, and they are learning. You see, but the issue is that you must know how to sit. How you sit is very, very important. You don't just sit anyhow. The first person there whose sitting arrangement is ticked good, that's the most suitable form of learning. You sit before a computer, you sit very straight, so that you don't give yourself bad posture, all in the name of taking online tutorials or online classes. See the other man there, seated abnormally. It's only a matter of time before it develops bad posture. So while you are taking these online classes, remember to sit right, properly. The second feature of modern education is that it involves the use of data and well-powered internet system. So you don't have data, you cannot receive modern education or online tutorials. It's a reality. And you need to have a functional laptop or a computer gadget that will help you take these classes most effectively. You see? So without data, without a well-powered internet system, modern education cannot take place. Number three, modern education, essentially, it is a form of distant learning program. You see, what we are doing here is in distance. We are not in close contacts with each other. The teacher is seated elsewhere doing a pre-recorded video, and you are at home getting ready to receive this class at the specified time based on our timetable schedule. However, you are still free to take the classes any other time you want. You can repeat the video again and again just for you to have mastery of the learning experiences or the learning content you are expected to acquire at the end of this class. So it's actually made possible, or it's a reality that occurs under a distant learning program or distant learning arrangement. Number 4, learners are matured, self-directed, and self-reliant. These classes cannot be possible if learners or students fail to demonstrate high level of maturity, if learners or students are not self-directed or self-reliant. Your parents cannot be there every minute guiding you or instructing you to go for your online tutorials or online classes. You must have that spirit of self-discipline to take classes online, whether anybody is monitoring you or not. You just know that that is the right thing to do. If you are not matured enough in character, if you are not well disciplined, you will be lazy. And if you are lazy, you will not want to take online classes, or you begin to procrastinate unnecessarily. And over time, the quantum of knowledge you should acquire would now increase to the point where you begin to feel weak and tired to learn all those things within a limited period of time. Like psychologists will say, one of the reasons why students fail is too much information at a time. If you are in week 1, you study the work for week 1, week 2, week 3, and it continues like that. When it's time for exams, it's very easy for you to dish out what you've learned. But if you procrastinate and the what you are supposed to learn keeps accumulating, let's say you have an exam is next week, for example, you have almost 4 to 5 weeks lessons to cover and personal reading to do on those topics. It will be difficult for you to acquire all this knowledge within a limited period of time. And so when you get to the hall, because you've acquired too much information within a short space of time, to recall becomes very difficult. So psychologists would say one of the reasons why students fail is too much information at a time. So we must demonstrate high sense of discipline. Under traditional setting, you have the teachers in class. They are there to guide you. They are there to instruct you to take classes. If you lack discipline, they will discipline you properly and ensure that you do the right thing. But under this setting, the teachers are not there. And if your parents are not there, it takes maturity and self-direction to attend online classes and ensure you do it to the very end. So modern education requires maturity, self-reliance, and self-directed beings. Number 5, it is flexible in style and approach because students can learn from anywhere and at any given time. You see, you're at home learning, taking these classes, these online tutorial classes. While I'm here, very far from you, you don't even know I'm actually in a school, in my place of work, in my residence, ensuring that you take these classes because I'm also trying to stay safe. So you see the distance, you're at home, I'm actually here. So you can take your lessons anytime you want. You can decide to say, I will take it around 8 a.m., around 2 p.m., around 5 p.m., depending on what is suitable. But the most important, some students will even say they'll take their lessons at night and they'll go to the YouTube platform at night and begin to study, pay attention to the tutorial delivery. You see, so it's a flexible approach, not like the classroom setting where there are streamlined there is a streamlined timetable that must be followed. You can't tell the teacher, please excuse me, can you hold on, don't have these classes until I'm done from ABC. You can't tell the teacher to do that. Whether you are present or not, lessons or learning or tutorials must go on under traditional setting. Number 6, people of different customs, culture, tribe, religion, sex, or even race are free to take modern online tutorials under modern education. So it involves what we call homogeneity. Homogeneity means differences in culture, customs, tradition, and even religion or socio-political affiliation. So you see, like what we have on the screen, look at all these persons. They are of different backgrounds. Some white people, others dark in complexion. So we have people of different race, religion. Even age is not a barrier. Somebody that is 10 years old can receive classes, online classes, with another person that is 50 years, because the proximity is not there. You are not in close contact with your fellow classmates that is taking online classes with you. So you see, it involves some principles of homogeneity. Number 7, it allows for automatic evaluation because tests are conducted after each topic or learning experience, just like we have under this arrangement. By the end of this class, we'll give you one assignment to do and refer you to Google Classroom, where you submit the work you've done on the basis of that assignment. As soon as you do it, automatically we ensure that the assignment is marked, and assessment will give you feedback immediately. So there is this room for spontaneous assessment and feedback given almost immediately, and that has been made possible through technology. This is more practical when the questions are actually objective questions. The computer system will just mark, just place it on default setting, and you have it marked, and the feedback administered to students and parents. So it gives room for automatic evaluation and feedback. Whatsoever goes up, we want to talk about the merits of modern education. What are the advantages? Number 1, it gives room for individualized instruction. Modern education provides the much needed opportunity for students to learn based on their interest and ability. Different students have different talents and interests, which the general education or traditional classroom setting doesn't provide for the various interests and needs of students. There is no adequate arrangement for it under normal classroom setting. But under modern education, it is made possible for students to spend more time. Modern education makes it possible for students to spend more time on relevant areas of interest and their future career. So that if you have difficulty in a particular subject and you are not comfortable, you can still take the online tutorials. If it is a pre-recorded video, like what we have on the screen, what we are having now, you can go and watch the video again and again and again in mathematics, just to make sure that that area that is posing some difficulty to you is properly taken care of. If you think you're having difficulty in English language, you just need to go through the video again and again. Then you pay attention on your area of interest, that which is relevant to your future career. Unlike the conventional classroom setting where the timetable is fixed, so you follow the classes stricto sensu, strictly speaking. No attention or no effort is made to consider the interests and needs of students. Even if such efforts are made under traditional setting, it is not always adequate or convenient for some students. Number 2, modern education makes it possible for students to be active listeners. Why is this so? There are so many side attractions in modern education. Like you see, every tutorial delivery has instructional materials which draws the attention of students to what is being learned. It is not always convenient and possible to do so under conventional or traditional system in classrooms. So you see, modern education creates the enabling environment for students to pay active attention to the learning process and put into practice all that has been learnt. Number 3, flexible time. It allows for flexibility. Modern education is not as rigid as the traditional system, where you must study at a particular point in time, a particular subject, or a given learning experience. You are free to consult the online tutorial platforms and take lectures anytime you want. We've stated this earlier on. Some students might decide to say, all these classes, I want to take them at night. Some will say, no, I want to take them during the day. There is no fixed timetable as to how it's going to be. Although this class is fixed, it has a fixed timetable according to our YouTube, according to our standard in this school. Students can always go back to it, to the YouTube platform, to watch this video and take online classes as many times as they would deem fit. Number 4, modern education is less expensive. If you compare modern education to traditional education, you spend less, because under normal school setting, there are facilities that you access, facilities other than the normal classroom where tutorials are delivered. You access school clinic, you access school library, you use the internet, you use the field. All these things, they form part of your school fees, some of the charges for school fees, for games, for exams, for this and that. But under this modern educational setting, students spend less. Students and parents spend what? Less. How do they spend less? Because emphasis is strictly on tutorial delivery. Number 5, it is a student-centered learning program or arrangement. You see, whatever is learned is based on the interest and need of the students. Attention is not on teachers and books. There are other sources such as online encyclopedias and other useful online materials that could be consulted if students feel the need to do so. So it is student-centered. Under conventional system, under traditional system in normal classroom, there is a pre-planned arrangement by the teacher, what the students will learn, how they will learn it, the approach they will adopt, the kind of questions they will answer to enforce teaching and learning. But under this arrangement, students are free to determine that which they want to study as far as it is relevant to the program they undergo. That is the end of, these are some of the merits of modern education. But there is this general saying that whatsoever goes up must surely come down. So as beautiful as modern education appears, there are so many demerits or disadvantages associated with it. Students will go home and reflect critically and tell us some of the disadvantages of modern education. As good as it is it enough to replace the traditional classroom setting? For me, the answer is no. Why is it no? Under education, there are 3 cardinal aspects of education: knowledge, skills, and morals. If you can acquire knowledge online, you can acquire skills online, it is almost impossible for you to acquire morals while taking classes online under modern educational arrangements. Your parents will not always be there because they will definitely go to work. Your elder brothers and siblings, uncles, and those around you will not be there to guide you on what is right and wrong. Definitely, you need the attention of the teacher, who is, and teachers are practically guardian counselors and parents to the students. They play the role of parents as far as attitude and moral formation is concerned. Who now plays that role if you decide to continue with modern education? We're only here by chance because of COVID-19, which is convenient, and for now it's solving our problem. but it cannot be allowed to fly or continue, because in all sense of honesty, morals is the most essential aspect of education. A man that is immoral or don't understand the values of social norms and conduct would definitely be lacking when it comes to exercising or performing his duties as a professional. How about the question of man as a social being or man as a social animal? It is almost impossible, because it is in the nature of man to socialize and associate with others. Modern education creates room for self-isolation, solitary confinement, if you like. You're on your own in your house taking online classes. How will you socialize and relate with other students and even teachers? Ask questions for clarity and better understanding. I just believe I've given you an idea or a tip on the demerits of modern education as it relates to this assignment. Please state 5 demerits of modern education. Submit to the Google Classroom using the ID stated below. Thank you so much, students, for listening. I really appreciate your time and attention. Continue to stay safe, and until I come your way next time, I remain your noble teacher, Mr. Uguche Ezekiel. God bless you.